Hello, my name's Nelson from Holman RV in Eastgate. I'm going to be doing a walkthrough on the Cougar Sport. This particular model is the Cougar 2700BH. We're going to start at the front of the camper and move our way around. We'll start here at the tanks. You have two propane tanks, one on each side of the camper. The controls are over here. Right now you can see that this black nozzle is heading to the right, which if you follow that hose comes to this tank. So right now it is in the open position and the one on the other side is in the off position. When you run out, you still have a full tank left. So you would simply flip that switch to the other side. That leads to that hose to the other side of the camper. Turn that one on and turn this one off. Then they unscrew just like your gas grill does, and you can simply remove it and take it and get it filled. They will not fill them attached to your camper. You will have to remove them to get them filled. At the very front of your camper, you can see you have some LED lights and a light to help you hook up your hitch. Both of those switches are right here. They're both in the on position right now. You also have an additional light on the outside to help you as well. The inside cabinet has your spare tire, and it also has your battery hookup. So this would be your battery disconnect. Right now it's in the on position. That charges in three ways because you have a solar panel on top. So it charges by solar panel while you're plugged in at a 30 or 50 amp and when you're traveling down the road off of your vehicle's alternator. While we're here at the tire, I just want to show you how to tell how old the tires are. There's a 4-digit number in that oval. This particular one is 1622. So that 16 is the day or the week of the year that the tire was made. The last two digits are the year. So those are 2022 tires. Now you don't want to go more than 5-6 years at the most on your tires. They will get dry rot in between the tread. So even though it looks like you have plenty of tread, it's dangerous to go over that period of time with a set of tires. Most common thing we get in here for body work are blowouts because this trim along the wheel well is nothing really sturdy, so it will take that out, as well as your plastic curtain that goes over top of the wheels. While we're talking about your tires, this is your tire sticker. It tells you what size of tires, and you want 80 psi in these tires. This is the other propane tank we were talking about. This is your pass-through storage. It's the other side. And this is simply your module for your solar panel outside. And this would be your cutoff switch just for the solar panel. So it is marked solar panel here. So that's that one. You have a switch at the bottom to turn on these lights. One direction turns them on constantly, the other one makes it an electric eye. For your front legs, to hook it onto your truck, these are your landing legs control. Up to retract, down to extend. These other ones are for your rear stabilizers. So they're simply an extend on that. I don't know if you can see them going down in the back or not. It's a little far away. I'm retracting them now. Now those are only stabilizers. They do not work as jacks. So you'll have to level your camper first and then lower these with that button up front that I just showed you. In this same panel where your walkthrough is, there's a quick disconnect hose that goes in here for your outside shower. Right now yours has been de-winterized, so winterize is in the off position. That's your bypass for your water heater. Now if you were winterizing, you would flip that to on. That would bypass the water heater and then you would hook up a hose to here to your pink stuff for your antifreeze and run that through your system to winterize it. Yours has already been de-winterized for the summer. You can bring the hoses up through the bottom so you can close this panel door. So when you bring the hoses in, this is your city water connection, and this is your cable connection. Now, if you have a satellite that you add, this makes the satellite work off of the satellite option on the inside where the TV hookup is. You have an additional spot for to add on more solar panels if you desire. This is your black tank flush. You never want to put water in there unless you're hooked up to sewer or the dump station, and make sure that the black tank handle is pulled all the way out. Then you can do your black tank flush. If you don't, it's going to spray up through the toilet and you're going to have a mess in your bathroom to clean up. Right there is your sewer hookup. So once you're connected to a dump station or your sewer, here's your release handles. You want to empty the black tank first. That would be all of your toilet water. And then you would pull the gray tank, and that would help rinse out your sewer hose. You have a tankless water heater. So there's nothing out here you really have to do. I'll explain that more when we get inside. That is your access panel for your tankless water heater. There's nothing special for winterizing your water heater. However, the small copper hoses or copper tubes in the back are more susceptible to freezing than the PEX tubing throughout the camper. So as soon as you see that it's going to be freezing temperatures, you want to winterize your camper as soon as possible so that your water heater doesn't freeze. This is just the outside exhaust for your heater. Moving on to the back. Okay, if you're working off of, if you're going to be boondocking, working off of your freshwater holding tank, then this is where you would fill your freshwater holding tank. Simply put the garden hose in here and fill it till it burps out at you and you're totally full. You will need to use the water pump when you're working off of your freshwater holding tank. If you're hooked up to city water, there's no need to turn on the water pump. To drain your water pump, there's a blue hose right there. That's the drain for your freshwater holding tank. So when you're done camping and get home, you can empty that, and then you can fill fresh for your next trip. You have a second sewer hose back here. You have a second gray tank, and there's the gray handle to pull to empty the other gray tank. This is your 50 amp connection at the back of your camper. Right now we've got it converted from 50 amp to 30 amp, which this is included with your camper. You can, if the campsite you have only has 30 amp, you can still use 30 amp. It just means you can't use both air conditioners. With 30 amp, you can only run one air conditioner. If you have a full 50 amp hookup, you can use both at the same time. You do have a hitch to add a bike carrier. Moving to the other side, this is simply an access to your bottom bunk on the inside of the camper. It would be like an emergency exit. I have your awning partially out, a little tight on room, and I also have your awning lights on. You have LED lights at the top of the awning. Now this awning is for shade. It's not made for rain. If it's a light rain with no wind, you can keep it out, but if you're having any wind at all, make sure you put that in. Also, you never know what's going to blow in, so if you go hiking or run into the store for any period of time, make sure you put the awning all the way in to make sure that it doesn't get ripped off the side of your camper if high winds come. Okay. If you set up a table out here, you can hook up your cable TV here and your plug here. This is just the opposite side of your pass-through storage. And we're back to the front. Now you do have some outside speakers. This will be zone 2 on your sound system. Zone 1 is inside, zone 2 is outside. Now you have your set of keys here. The purple ones are for the door. So you have a small deadbolt for that bottom one, and then this top one simply locks this handle in place. Your gray ones are for the other compartments, and this silver one that we call a 751 key, it is the one that locks the little cabinet over top of your freshwater holding tank at the left rear of your camper. These steps are the extra sturdy steps. You do have to have your entry door all the way open though in order to put these up or down, because this arm rests all the way against the frame on the inside. Then it locks in place with the handle. To release, simply pull it to get it released. Now you have pins here, so you can adjust these steps, and you want them either adjusted so that the steps are totally level or actually leaning away from your camper. If they're not, then the way that they're mounted, this may interfere with the closing of your door. So if you're having trouble closing your door, you may need to do an adjustment on your steps. We're ready to go inside. As soon as you come in, right at the steps, first of all, you do have an electric eye here, a motion detector, to light up a little light for going up and down your steps toward the front of the fifth wheel. Right above the handrail is your main panels with all your controls. So this is for your ceiling lights. This is for your awning light outside, those LEDs that I showed you. This is your awning extend and retract. And this is for your slide out. Slide out in, slide out out. Now before you hit your slide out, you always want to make sure that you have total clearance where the slide's going to come in and out. Right there, and then at the other end of the pillar, make sure that nothing's blocking that way to come in or out before you put the slide out or retract it. This one tells you your levels of all your tanks and your battery. So there's 4 little lights that will light up. Right now that's the battery button, so you have a full charge on your battery. We got a full freshwater holding tank. Your black is empty, first gray is empty, second gray is empty. This is your water pump control. Simply flip it up, and right now we are working off of your freshwater holding tank, so we're going to leave that in the on position to demonstrate the faucets throughout the camper. This is for your heating and AC. When you first touch the mode button, it will come out, it'll light up the back one. You have a cool setting, heat setting, fan setting, and dry setting. The dry setting turns on your air conditioner but doesn't use the AC. This is more like a dehumidifier. So if the temperature is not real hot outside but it's humid, you may want to try the dry setting so that you're not using the compressor for the AC. To change the mode, simply hit the button, and now we're on cool. And if we turn the temperature further down, your AC will kick back on. Okay, we'll go to the kitchen. First of all, Keystone has these QR codes that you can scan and download on your phone. Once you get their app on your phone, you can find your specific model, and all of your manuals will be on there, and it will also have videos covering some of the things that we're talking about today. This is your sound system. You have a power button to turn it on. And this is your volume button. And this is the zone buttons I was telling you about. Right now, they're both on. So if you ever turn this on and you're not getting any sound, make sure you've chosen a zone, because if both of them are in the off position, it will not work. So zone 1 is your inside speakers, and number 2 is your outside speakers. We'll go ahead and turn that off for now. Your television is right above it. Right now we're working off of the power antenna, so you got an excellent picture just running off of air antenna. You do have an extension arm, so you can swivel it toward your couch, or toward the dinette, or toward the kitchen while you're cooking. When you're traveling though, make sure that that's pushed all the way in, and there are straps to hold it in place when you're trailering the fifth wheel. Another thing that you want in the down position when you're traveling is your glass cover for your stove. It is glass, so make sure it's down when you're towing your trailer. Otherwise, if you hit a bump and that glass hits this cast iron, it could shatter. This light on your stove, the up direction, turns on all these blue lights behind it, so at a glance you can tell that there's no gas going through. The bottom one lights those up, as well as your oven light. To light the burners, simply turn this to the flame, and this is a clicker like on your gas grill at home. It's a spark igniter. Now this one's for your oven. It's a little bit different. This is kind of like a gas fireplace. Now you would have to turn it to the flame, and now you have to prime the pilot light. So you push in on this button for about 15 to 20 seconds, and then after that time you would use the same spark igniter to light the pilot light. Once the pilot light's lit, then you can turn it to a temperature and the whole center panel will light up. You have a residential microwave. You have a fan and an extra light above the stove. And you have a farm style sink. And you have 2 ways to spray, and it pulls out, so you can have spray or a solid stream. You can use that to rinse it. If we go over to your refrigerator, it's always locked, so your groceries will not fall out. It actually has a release when you put your fingers in and push on the button. So that releases your refrigerator. Now, right now we've got it turned up to 5. You can see 2 spots here. Level 2 and 3 says off grid. So when you're towing down the road or going off grid and you're working off of your battery and your inverter, you want to turn those down to level 3 or 2. That way it uses less of your battery. Once you get to where you're going and you get plugged in, you can turn it back up to 4 or 5. To turn it off, simply turn it all the way down to the off position. Nice deep freezer, and it's good and cold. Your bunk room has 3 bunks. The light switch for this room is around the corner. And you also have USB ports and electric hookup. You have big storage at the top, as well as at the bottom for hanging clothes. If you ever have any electrical issues, These are marked GFI, so the first thing you want to do is check your GFI and make sure that it hasn't been tripped and hit the reset. If that's not the issue, then come back here to your electrical panel, and we have circuit breakers just like at your house, and they're marked what they're for. You also have a 12-volt system with fuses, and there's a little panel to the right that will actually have a red light come on next to the fuse that's blown, so you don't have to pull them all. Now you can see here on the floor we have a floor vent. That's for your furnace. And then in the ceiling are white vents. That's for your air conditioning. And you have 4 of them in the main area, and then you also have some up in the master bedroom as well as your second air conditioner. These lights that didn't turn on with the ceiling lights have a I'm sorry, you do have a switch for these, so there is a switch to turn on those other 3 lights that are in the slide out themselves. They did install a switch for you. This one folds down to a bed. You simply pull the table off and remove those 2 poles, and the table comes down and rests in these brown areas. Fill in the center with the cushions, and that makes a bed as well. You have a pull-out bed here. If you remove these top cushions, I'm going to use 2 hands for a second. Okay. This pulls out, and that comes down as your 3rd piece of the panel. Going upstairs to the bathroom. Okay, this is the control for your tankless water heater. So if we hit the on button, it shows 120 degrees, and that's the temperature that your home water heater is set at. If you want it hotter or colder, you can adjust the temperature that it's going to be. Now, this is a little different than one that has a tank. Okay, if you turn on both of these at the same time, it's going to interfere with the reading of the temperature of the water, and it won't heat up as much. So what you need to do is turn on the hot water first until it gets to the temperature that you want, and then add cold to adjust the temperature. So when I turn on the hot water, you'll see the panel come on, and you'll see a flame in the middle. So now it's heating up, and I can feel the hot water. And now that it's the temperature, you can add your cold to adjust. But to get hot water again, just make sure you turn on the hot first and then the cold to adjust. This is your GFI reset, and this is your light switch for the bathroom lights. You have a stand-up shower, and you have a porcelain toilet. To fill it, simply push slightly down on the pedal, and the commode will fill with water. So now you can use it just like at home, and to flush it, push the pedal all the way down, and it puts it to the black tank. This is also where you would add your blue, we call it blue liquid, to add to your holding tank to dissolve your toilet paper and your waste. Moving up to the bedroom, okay, you have another spot here for a TV. It's marked for TV backer, and you could plug into your cable and your electric. You have hanging storage up at the front. It's a double wide and 3 drawers. You have a bed with underbed storage as well. And this is your second AC. We won't turn it on right now because we're only hooked up to 30 amp, but you have individual controls to turn it on and off and make it colder as desired. You do have another light under here. You click it on by pressing a center button. And you have additional cabinets on each side, as well as USB ports and electric on both sides. Just give you another shot of the full room in the center. And that concludes our walkthrough of this 2700 Cougar. I hope you enjoy camping. Have a good day.